Kelly here from Kelly & Co, and today I am going to transplant some of my cuttings that have rooted and some of them have shoots into soil. So to start off with, you can refer back to my cuttings video I did, I think it was 2 videos ago, where I showed you how to take a cutting and how to root it, and I used these propagation stations from Tradie with plants to root my cuttings. So I've taken 2 cuttings out of here. I have neon here with pretty good roots, and it's got a little shoot in the middle of those 2 roots there. So I am pretty happy with that, and it's got a wee bit of like a root system growing off this root here. You can kind of see it there. Then I have a Brazil. I absolutely love Brazils, they're so pretty. And then it has an amazing root system, like it's really long, it's a bit tangled up. Excuse the plane flying over if you can hear that. And it's got a decent shoot here. And then I have a monkey mask, which was in soil, but it's not doing well. So I've taken it out, given it a wash, and I'm going to repot it and give it some food and some Seaweed Tonic and pop it in my prop box. So that's this one here. It's such a beautiful plant, and it's got a leaf that's about to unfurl as well. So it's doing okay, but it just wasn't the best. So we'll fix her up. She's got an amazing root system. So when you take your cuttings from the water, you want to make sure that the roots are at least 1/3 the size of the plant. Otherwise they're not going to be able to stabilize it and absorb enough nutrients for the plant to grow. So this would be my minimum amount of roots personally, but it does have a shoot on it, so I'm pretty happy with that. This one is ideal, and it's got a decent shoot. Like, that's what you want before you put it in soil or leca or whatever you're going to put it into. It's really important to wait. I know it's really hard and it takes ages for your cuttings to root, but if you're going to put all that work into growing roots on them, you don't want to rush it and then put them in soil and then they die because you've wasted like 2 or 3 months. So it's really important to keep changing that water, getting that oxygen flow, and make sure that it's getting enough light. And then once it's at least, the roots are at least 1/3 of the cutting, then you can plant it into soil. So when you plant it into soil, you want to put it in quite a small pot. I couldn't find any of the pot sizes that I wanted. This is a bit wider than I'd like, but I went to Bunnings, Mitre 10, and then I went to Odorines, and this was all I could find. I would normally use this height, but normally they're a bit more narrow. So I think this is 10 centimeters diameter, so normally I'd like 7, but it'll be fine. And then for your potting medium, you want it to be a really good, like, free draining soil, but you do want it to retain moisture because these roots have grown in water, so that's what they're used to. I'm going to use the Yates Cacti and Succulent mix because it's doing really good for everything that I've planted in it recently. And you want to keep these wet, like not like muddy, but just past moist for at least 2 weeks because they are used to that wet environment, and then you can slowly taper it off and then set up like your normal watering system for it, and they'll be fine. So they do take a little bit of care, but you are growing a baby plant. You're not just buying a full grown plant and it's already established and you can just water it pretty much how you want. So you do have to look after them. They do take time and care, but it is awesome and it's well worth growing your own plants. Like, I absolutely love it. Okay, so let's get started. Just move this out of the way. So I've got 3 of these pots here, and I'm just going to fill them up about 3/4 with the succulent mix is this one here. I'll pull it up. So it's the Yates Thrive Cacti and Succulent mix, and it's such a good blend. Like, I really, really love it. You can get it pretty much everywhere. It's not hard to get. So, got one, and I've got it like right up to the lip, so 3/4 full. I don't know, yeah, you can see it, of soil. Right, I'm going to just start with the two cuttings that I rooted in water. So maybe that needs a little bit more. So what I do is I pre-moisten the soil before I put the plant in. That way you're not going to get any air pockets or anything, and it's going to be nice and moist for the plant to grow in. So I've got my Yates Thrive Seaweed Tonic, which is amazing. I always talk about it helps stop transplant shock, it helps establish a healthy root system. It's just got a whole lot of amazing qualities. So whenever I repot or plant a new plant, I always use this. It's not a fertilizer, it's different. So I'm just going to water that, and this one here. So it's nice and moist, and I'll probably flow out the bottom a little bit, but that's alright because it is a free draining soil. So that's nice and wet. So I'm going to make a well in the middle. I'll just push up the side, the dirt to the sides. And then I've got my wee plant here. I have had them out of the water, drying a little bit, so they're not going straight from water to soil. They've been laying on a paper towel for a couple of hours. So I'm going to pop her in. And if they have a shoot, don't worry about burying it under the soil. It'll find its way out. I mean, it grew underwater. It's pretty amazing what they can handle, really. Perfect. So that's that one potted up. And these will go straight into my prop box on a heat mat. I'll do the same here, make a well in the middle, push the soil up to the sides. And then I make this one a bit deeper because the roots are a bit bigger. And then pop the Brazil in here, and then just gently push the soil back onto it. So you want the soil so it's sticking to your hands, that kind of wetness. So it's not going to get a big shock. And that's the Brazil. You can see, it was dripping a little bit. Okay, the monkey mask. Now this one already has established roots. It has not been propping in water, so I do not need to pre-moisten the soil for this one. I'm just trying to clear up this little mess here. So we've got this baby here. So I'm using, yeah, I'm going to use the same size pot for it. You'll find with indoor plants, they prefer a smaller pot size. They just seem to do better. And then by the time the monkey mask is ready to repot, it will be spring. So it'll be perfect timing. And hopefully she'll be thriving by then. So I'm just going to put some soil. Now you just, with cutting this size, or a little baby plant this size, you just want like a centimetre at the bottom of the pot, and then you pop this in, and then you backfill around it. And just push some of these roots down. Looks like we've got a shoot kind of aerial root forming here. And then just gently push the soil back down, and you still want to leave a lip for watering, otherwise you're going to get flooding when you water her. Okay, that's her all potted up, and she's got a little shoot here. Now I am going to water her with the Seaweed Tonic, but I'm not going to do as much as I did with the rooted cuttings that came straight from water. But I do want to help stop any shock to the root system, anything like that, and just give her a really good chance at establishing good roots in this new soil. So I'm just going to put a little bit just in the middle of where I planted her. And that's all for now. And she's going to go in my prop box on my heat mat as well until I think she's ready, and I'll update you guys on my social medias. So I've got, see if I can hold all of them. I can. I've got my 3 cuttings that are transplanted to soil. It is really important to have the right equipment. When you are doing this, you really need to give them the best chance. You don't need things like the prop stand, like just use a jam jar or a coffee jar or anything like that. It's absolutely fine. But a good soil, the right nutrients, and a good environment for them to thrive in is really, really important. So if you have any questions at all, as always, just pop them down below in the comments or hit me up on my social medias, Kelly & Co Plants. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.